What if I told you the car parked in your driveway might be worth nothing in just a few years? Not because you wrecked it, but because the brand itself is disappearing. Across the country, once famous automakers are quietly shutting down models, slashing sales, and leaving loyal owners stranded with vehicles no one wants to buy, fix, or insure. I've seen it happen before, luxury badges turning into liabilities overnight. So in this video, we're counting down 10 car brands on the edge of collapse, the scandals behind their downfall, the warning signs to watch for, and how these ticking time bombs could destroy your resale value. Stick around for number 1, because its downfall will make you question every car brand you thought was safe. Let's kick things off with a name every American once trusted, a brand that went from household hero to highway ghost. Chrysler. I still remember when Chrysler meant something. The 300 sedan turned heads, the town and country ruled driveways, and the badge carried real American pride. But today, it's like walking through an abandoned showroom. In 2005, Chrysler sold over 620,000 vehicles in the US. By 2024, that number collapsed to barely 130,000. And here's the scary part. The lineup's almost gone. The 300 is dead, the Voyager only for fleets, and the Pacifica minivan, the last consumer model standing, is slipping fast. Their one big hope, the Airflow EV, was just cancelled mid-development, labeled too expensive and already outdated. Behind the scenes, things get even uglier. Chrysler's been hit by diesel fraud, UAW bribery scandals, and even dealership collapses. One dealer in Chicago defaulted on a $4.6 million loan, leaving customers without titles or refunds. For owners, this isn't just bad press, it's a financial trap. As support shrinks, resale values sink, warranty coverage becomes uncertain, and parts availability starts drying up. It's the textbook case of a brand running on fumes, and if Stellantis decides to pull the plug, Chrysler drivers could be left holding the bag. At number 9, we have Buick. I've worked on a lot of Buicks over the years, and I'll be honest, they've always had one big problem: image. It's the brand everyone associates with Grandpa's driveway, not modern driveways. That retirement home on wheels reputation still haunts it, and younger buyers just aren't interested. Sure, sales ticked up in 2024. Buick moved around 185,000 vehicles in the US, but when Toyota sells 2.4 million, that's not a comeback, that's a footnote. And the cars themselves? They don't help the case. The Encore GX, Envision, and Envista might look sharp, but underneath, critics call them rebadged Chevrolets with nicer badges and higher prices. Mechanically, things haven't been smooth either. The Encore lineup's been plagued with oil leaks, turbo failures, and engine performance issues that can turn a simple commute into a repair bill nightmare. That's bad enough, but when your brand isn't strong in luxury or value, it's a double whammy. For owners, that means weak resale, higher maintenance costs, and shrinking dealer support as GM quietly shifts focus elsewhere. Buick is caught in no man's land. Too pricey for bargain hunters, too bland for status seekers. At number 8, we have Genesis. When Genesis first hit the US market, I'll admit, I was impressed. Bold styling, cutting-edge tech, and prices that undercut BMW and Mercedes. On paper, it looked like the smart buyer's luxury secret. But here's the truth. Luxury buyers don't chase bargains. They chase status. And to many folks, Genesis still feels like Hyundai in a tuxedo. The numbers tell the story. In 2024, Genesis sold just over 75,000 cars in the US. Compare that to BMW's 365,000, Mercedes' 286,000, or Lexus' 325,000. And you'll see Genesis is still fighting for recognition, not dominance. But what's really killing confidence is reliability. In 2022, the brand recalled nearly 98,000 vehicles, models like the G80, GV60, and GV70, all due to fuel pump failures that caused stalling. And in the luxury world, one major recall can be a death sentence for trust. That means fast depreciation, shrinking resale value, and higher repair costs as the brand struggles to prove itself. Add in the fact that many Genesis buyers still end up at Hyundai dealerships for service, sipping free coffee next to Elantras instead of champagne in leather lounges, and you've got a recipe for brand confusion. To make matters worse, a 25% tariff on Korean imports is driving prices higher, while even the US-built models rely on costly overseas parts. And the electric vehicle hope, the GV60, is already losing ground, overpriced and underwhelming compared to Tesla and Lexus hybrids. Without a serious turnaround, Genesis risks fading fast, leaving owners holding cars that look luxurious but sell like leftovers. At number 7, we have Fiat. When Fiat made its big comeback to the US, everyone thought it'd be the next big thing. Quirky Italian design, small city cars, and prices that made owning something stylish feel easy. But that dream didn't last long. The charm faded fast as those cute 500s and 500Xs started breaking down more than they were driven. What looked like affordable fun turned into constant service appointments, electrical gremlins, and transmission failures that drained wallets and patience. In 2024, Fiat sold fewer than 6,000 vehicles across the entire country. That's not a brand holding ground, that's a brand in retreat. Dealers are closing, parts shortages are turning quick repairs into multi-week delays, and customer confidence is evaporating. Fiat's electric hope, the 500e, hasn't fared much better. With limited range, high pricing, and a fading support network, buyers aren't lining up for a brand they fear won't survive the decade. For current owners, the red flags are everywhere. Resale values have collapsed, insurance rates are creeping higher, and warranty claims keep piling up as the brand's future grows uncertain. Fiat tried to sell itself as a fun, affordable entry point into European style, but now it's a reminder that cheap upfront often means costly later. At number 6, we have Lincoln. There was a time when owning a Lincoln meant you'd made it. Smooth rides, quiet cabins, and that presidential touch of class. But these days, the shine is fading fast. The brand's once golden reputation is being buried under a pile of mechanical headaches and shrinking market share. Let's start with reliability, or what's left of it. Owners are reporting air suspension leaks that turn smooth rides into sagging messes, engine oil and coolant leaks that lead to overheating, and harsh shifting transmissions that make luxury feel anything but refined. The Navigator and MKZ, once cornerstones of the lineup, have become symbols of expensive repairs and constant maintenance. And the hits don't stop there. From glitchy infotainment systems to electrical faults that knock out comfort features, Lincoln's promise of peace of mind is turning into frustration for too many buyers. Consumer Reports now ranks Lincoln 24th overall, 12th among luxury brands, and 13th in road tests, far below what you'd expect from a name once linked to presidents and prestige. The fallout hits where it hurts most: the wallet. Repair bills are climbing, insurance costs are rising thanks to recurring recalls, and dealership networks are shrinking as younger buyers walk away. Luxury customers expect confidence, but Lincoln's delivering uncertainty. If the brand can't fix its quality or rebuild trust, it risks becoming another chapter in America's long list of once great automakers gone silent. At number 5, we have Smart. Remember when smart cars were supposed to be the future? Tiny footprints, big savings, and the promise of city-friendly driving. It sounded perfect on paper, but on American roads, it became a nightmare. Drivers quickly realized these micro-machines were underpowered, overpriced, and unsafe next to SUVs and trucks that dominate US highways. By 2020, Smart pulled out of the US entirely after years of dismal sales. The company sold fewer than 700 cars in its final year, numbers that make even struggling EV startups look successful. Parts have grown harder to find, insurance premiums soared due to poor safety ratings, and resale values fell off a cliff, leaving owners with cars few buyers even recognize. Now, under new management from Geely, Smart is pushing EV crossovers in Europe and Asia, but here in America, it's a dead brand walking. For anyone still holding one of these tiny time capsules, support is fading fast, and maintenance costs are starting to outweigh the car's actual value. Smart was built to save you money, but in the end, it only saved space in the junkyard. At number 4, we have Alfa Romeo. The name alone sounds like passion on wheels, sleek lines, sporty handling, and that unmistakable Italian charm. When these cars first landed in the US, enthusiasts thought they were getting a piece of European art for the price of a BMW. But as many owners have learned, that beauty comes with baggage, and it's getting heavier every year. According to Consumer Reports, Alfa Romeo ranked 27th overall for 2025, near the bottom of the entire industry, and 26th in road tests. That's not just a red flag, that's a flare gun. Behind the badge, the problems stack up fast. Glitchy infotainment, sudden warning lights, rough shifting transmissions, and electrical faults that leave drivers stranded. Even basic quality feels off, with cheap plastics, fragile knobs, and panel gaps you could lose your keys in. And when reliability tanks this hard, the resale value falls off a cliff. Dealers hesitate to take trade-ins, repair bills climb, and used buyers stay far, far away. What was once a dream of Italian performance quickly turns into a garage ornament with a payment plan. For a brand built on passion, the ownership experience feels more like heartbreak, with high repair costs, limited dealer support, and confidence fading fast. Unless Alfa fixes these flaws, that famous badge could be headed straight for extinction. At number 3, we have Mini. Once stood for something fun, a cheeky little car with go-kart handling and British charm. It had attitude, style, and a loyal fan base. But charm doesn't pay the bills. Over the last few years, Mini's US sales have plummeted, falling from over 60,000 units a decade ago to barely 25,000 in 2024. And that's not just a sales slump, that's a brand losing its identity. BMW's ownership hasn't helped much. The lineup is aging, repair costs are sky high, and the once quirky brand is now caught between luxury pricing and economy expectations. Owners complain about electrical gremlins, expensive maintenance, and poor reliability, with some models needing thousands in repairs before hitting 100,000 miles. Add in soaring insurance premiums and resale values that nosedive, and that fun-to-drive reputation starts feeling more like a financial trap. Mini's trying to pivot to EVs, but the upcoming electric Cooper faces stiff competition from cheaper, longer-range rivals. Without a solid lineup or clear identity, Mini risks becoming exactly what its name suggests, a small player in a market that's moving on. At number 2, we have Jaguar. There was a time when Jaguar was the crown jewel of British luxury, a brand that stood for grace, power, and prestige. But today, that leaping cat has lost its claws. What was once a symbol of class is now clinging to survival. Over the last few years, Jaguar has gutted its entire lineup. The XE, XF, F-Type, E-Pace, and I-Pace are all gone. The F-Pace SUV is the only model left, and even that's limping through dealerships desperate for traffic. The numbers are brutal. In 2025, Jaguar's European registrations collapsed 97.5% year-over-year, with just 50 cars sold in April. Global sales have plunged from over 180,000 units in 2018 to barely 29,000 today. For most automakers, that's a slowdown. For Jaguar, it's a near-extinction event. And the timing couldn't be worse. The brand has bet everything on a risky all-electric relaunch, but the first new EV won't arrive until late 2025, with 2 more delayed until 2026. That means empty showrooms, shrinking dealer support, and resale values falling off a cliff as buyers lose confidence in a brand with no fresh inventory. The redesign didn't help either. The new Live Vivid campaign swapped the iconic Leaping Cat logo for a bland J in a circle, leaving loyal fans scratching their heads. Critics called it tone-deaf, and customers accused Jaguar of chasing image over engineering. If Jaguar's reinvention fails, it won't just fade, it'll vanish. For current owners, that means limited parts, weak resale, and the risk of driving a luxury ghost. And at number 1, we have Maserati. There was a time when Maserati was the heartbeat of Italian luxury. Roaring engines, hand-stitched leather, and that unmistakable trident badge. But today, that badge feels less like a mark of prestige and more like a warning label. The brand is in freefall, and owners are starting to feel the pain. In 2024, Maserati's global sales collapsed 59%, plunging from over 27,000 units to just 11,500. Showrooms that once flaunted exclusivity are now filled with unsold Levantes, Ghiblis, and Quattroports, collecting dust while buyers turn to Porsche, BMW, and Lexus instead. Even Stellantis, Maserati's parent company, has called in consultants to decide whether to sell, merge, or shut the brand down altogether. And the hits keep coming. Import tariffs have slapped a 25% premium on every Italian-made model, making already pricey cars nearly impossible to justify. The long-promised EV lineup has been delayed again, with weak demand and canceled models leaving the brand's future hanging by a thread. For owners, the risks are massive. If Maserati disappears, you're left with an orphaned luxury car, one that's hard to service, even harder to insure, and nearly impossible to resell. Parts scarcity is already creeping in, and repair bills can rival a year's worth of car payments. It's heartbreaking to watch a legend fade, but prestige can't survive on nostalgia alone. Without a radical turnaround, Maserati could become the next big name to vanish from the road, leaving loyal drivers with a garage full of regrets. At the end of the day, buying a car isn't just about style, it's about survival. Choose the wrong brand, and you're not driving an investment, you're driving a liability. So do your homework. Protect your wallet, and remember, sometimes the smartest buy is the one everyone else overlooks.